excellent job.
Josh Baldwin getting a little bit loose. Everyone seems to be making out of the first turn okay. And right there,
oh man!
Todd LeDuc getting into it, and now Greg Adler in the front of him. Two drivers getting back and forth. Now Jerry Welchel running.
Barlow right up almost into the fence. Welchel has been all over the place. Now at the bottom of the track, looks like he gets a little love back there from Dan Vandenheuvel, and the yellow flag waves.
A yellow right off the start. If you have too many problems in the first corner, a lot of times they'll restart this race. We see Evan Evans all over the place. Right now the track is very, very loose. They got to get some water down or there'll be too much dust, but with it so hard, the water never seeps in. So for the first couple laps, they're all over the place. And Todd LeDuc on the hook.
Yeah, that's the yellow flag at the starting line, and that was why, because Todd LeDuc was going the wrong direction. Come on back.
You've driven these trucks, Ken, and you know what this land rush start is like when you're putting 850 horsepower down to the ground, trying to get yourself out in front with all these other drivers. You don't know what is happening. I'll tell you one thing, who is out in front, and that's Scott Taylor.
Scott Taylor's truck, bad fast out here this weekend. You can see everybody just diving down in there. Looks like Evan Evans over-rotates.
Evan Evans goes around, but it's Todd LeDuc who was luckily got that new wheel, and now he's back in second place.
He's also the points leader coming into this event, and you can see Carl Renazetter right behind him with a Nissan.
Carl Renazetter looking to the inside. This is that off-camera turn that we talked about. Gets in there, puts a door in there. Great move by Carl, but Jerry Welchel looking to the inside as well.
A very, very technical corner now, as you mentioned before, off camber. A great place to roll a truck over, so they have to kind of tiptoe through there. Here comes a Lucas Oil-sponsored Nissan. Renazetter really all over the place as well. Jerry Welchel and Todd LeDuc, those two got together in the first start.
These guys are banging back and forth, a very, very action-packed start. A lot of times you'll see guys settle down after one restart, but these guys are wound up.
It's all that adrenaline going in that start. I'm telling you, man, it has a huge pucker factor. I don't care who you are. When you have 14, 15 trucks, 800-plus horsepower, all diving into the first turn, wide open, man. If you think you don't have some adrenaline running, you're crazy. Steve
Barlow and Travis Coyne looking very, very strong in this race. And right there, Greg Adler getting spun around. All it takes is a little bit of a tap because you're so hard on the sway bar. If somebody bumps your truck and just gets the chassis off a little bit, you're going around. And that's what happened to Greg Adler.
That team has worked so hard, too. Greg Adler's team, he got some new horsepower. The truck, formerly a Barlow truck, has worked extremely hard and is finally starting to make some headway. The car's starting to make some power.
Right now, you're seeing Jerry Welchel trying to put a move on Carl Renazetter. Carl's out front. Jerry Welchel pushing up from behind. That truck is a past champion. It's only lost twice in the history that it's been on the track. Once last year with Carl Renazetter, and some guy beat him back in '98.
Yeah, I wonder who that was.
I think that was
RJ?
me.
You loved every second of it, too, didn't you?
That's right. Jerry Welchel doing a very great job. I mean, he's out there driving very, very aggressive. I love to watch Jerry. He's always got the back end hung out and very, very hard on the throttle.
The Monster sponsorship behind him there to help him keep it alive. I think really kudos goes out to that Nissan team as well for Carl Renazetter, a brand new truck, and that thing has really been fast.
Yeah, I have to correct myself. I said that Carl was leading. It's been Scott Taylor who got the whole shot and is running very, very smooth. Scott's been running very hot and cold. Usually doesn't make mistakes, but this year he's either been way out in front or on the sidelines.
Taylor was also fast back in round 1 and 2 here at Chula Vista. Remember, he had the spindle nut failure, and that put him on his lid when the right front wheel busted off.
Right now we see Carl Renazetter making up a little bit of ground, and Jerry Welchel watching both of those guys. Jerry's new to CORR, but as we said before, not new to racing. So right now he's going to school, watching the two best right now out in front of him and figuring out what's going to be the best line for him, inside or out.
He is from California, so he's used to running on this type of surface. When he got to the Midwest, it was something different for him, but he's very comfortable here. Obviously, Carl Renazetter getting ready to lean on Taylor. This is going to be a good race. Two former champs.
Exactly. You got the defending champ and the winningest driver in Pro 2 going head-to-head right now. This is what you're always looking for.
Well, it's so fun to watch these guys here. True technicians hanging the truck out on the ragged edge. One will take one line, the other will take the other because you can't pass them when you're following them.
And they're both egotistical maniacs, and they love to win, and they hate to lose. So you watch Carl Renazetter. He's such a great athlete, and he works so hard and drives. He gets every bit out of that truck. And Scott Taylor, he's done so much. It's hard. He's such a cagey veteran. It's hard to beat him.
He has that feel. You mentioned it before. Carl Renazetter, a great athlete, a triathlete. very, very talented as well, but he does not get tired inside of that cockpit as we go a little deeper into the field.
We see Dan Van Den Heuvel and here Josh Baldwin making a look on the inside of Travis Coyne. Travis, a rookie, obviously, but Josh has been around for a couple years, and now he takes a look down at the inside, a little slide,
yeah.
and actually, Travis helped him from going over. Josh was a little bit on the bicycle. Use the door to keep you from flipping back over, but Travis making a run back and gets back in front.
Travis had a great run in round 4 when he finished second. Come on back.
Fast. It's a little bit different configuration. The lighter weight, lower cubic inch, where Scott Taylor, on the other hand, big horsepower.
The Menards guys providing the power inside of that Nissan, and we talked about that team, how hard they've worked. Scott Taylor with a brand new truck. Those guys have also worked very hard to get the bugs out of that one.
Right, but you see Scott Taylor taking the protective line and CORR runners that are running on the high line. Gets a better run coming off, makes up a little bit more ground, but these Pro 2s are hard to pass because all that traction is to the back wheels, and that's filling up the driver behind them with roost.
Here we go, turn number 3. Talked about it before, and it almost bit Taylor right there.
Right there, and he got stuck behind Scott Douglas, who was off to the side, just going slow. So that really helped out Carl Renzetter a lot and puts him out in front.
Nice onboard shot there with Carl. And Taylor now in hot pursuit.
Now Taylor can figure out where Carl was catching right now. He can try some insides, some outsides, look at Carl's braking points and try to make up that ground. Now what Carl Renzetter is going to try to do is run what he knows is the best of both of their 2 lines and try to get away from him and not let Taylor get within striking distance. Because here we have an S turn, a right and then a left. You open yourself up to get beamed in the rear and flatten a tire.
Now there is a mandatory yellow as we go a little deeper in the pack, and problem for Scott Taylor, snake bit again here at Chula Vista.
Unfortunate for the not defending champion, but the winningest driver in Pro 2. This is a brand new truck for him. He's working out a lot of bugs, but you hate to see him on the sidelines.
So that'll put Jerry Welchel in second. I would think at this point Carl Renzetter would back off just a little bit and save his truck because that mandatory yellow is coming up.
We also saw Todd LeDuc go by Steve Barlow. Barlow with another problem. The situation here is that you run so hard in these trucks with the slick and with the traction and everything like that. Oh! Dan Van Den Heuvel up on the bike, working very, very hard, trying to work his way back up to the front, working on Josh Baldwin, but getting on the bicycle, but doing a great job of pulling those wheels back down.
And Van Den Heuvel's had an extremely tough season. The truck is typically very, very fast, but he's struggled this year.
This is a very tight and tough turn 3, and now you can see it. There's some traction, some dry slick, where you slide very fast across the slick, and then the traction tries to bite your wheel and send you up on the bicycle.
And look at Van Den Heuvel just all over the place as he's trying to keep pace with Rhonda Conitzer, who's really stepped up. She's done an awesome job.
Travis Coyne looking to the inside, and that's what I'm talking about. You're trying to get...
Uh-oh, we got one over on its lid.
We're hearing on the radio that's Greg Adler goes up and over, and he's stuck on his side. That's going to bring out the yellow flag so they can get him tipped back over. But let's take a look back at the Nissan Pro Race analysis. Going into the first turn, obviously after the first round with all that carnage, Todd LeDuc losing a wheel, but he was fortunate enough to get back to the pit, put on a new wheel, and get himself ready for the next start. Comes out in second place, running very, very strong. Scott Taylor out front, comes in, gets on the bicycle a little bit right here, gets up, goes to save it, almost runs into the back of Scott Douglas, who's over to the side. Now he has to come to a stop. Carl Renzetter gets out in front. Scott Taylor starts chasing him down, but something happened to Taylor later on that he ended up on the sidelines. Carl Renzetter running very, very strong out front, Ken.
Yeah, he's able to keep that Nissan Titan together, obviously here today, having a very strong run. The truck is extremely fast. They just need to work out a couple of bugs, and it looks like they've done that here.
Scott Taylor pulling out of the truck. The winningest driver is not going to put another trophy on his mantle today, and that's your Nissan Pro Race analysis.
And you know, you mentioned that a couple of times. I think we should tell the people, as you look at Greg Adler there, rolled over. Scott Taylor has won 43 races inside of his class, and the closest one to him is Evan Evans at 26. That shows you what an advantage this guy has had in the Pro 2 division.
But it's getting more and more competitive every year, and that's a great testament for these trucks. Greg Adler going over, getting flipped, pumping some of the fluids out, but also they flip him back on his wheels, fires it up, and there he goes.
They are that tough, no question. As you can see, they're making their one parade lap for the mandatory yellow.
So we're risking our life doing this.
We'll go racing when we come back. 7, Chula Vista, Carl Renzetter out front, and now Jerry Welchel, using the yellow flag to his advantage, is able to close that gap.
Jerry Welchel running very aggressive, but Jerry runs a lot of times very sideways, very, very heavy on the throttle. With a track like this, that does not play into your shoes. You got to be very smooth on the gas, but also Carl's got that light truck, which also helps very much getting in and out of these corners.
And look at Todd LeDuc taking a little different line there, trying to chop that course off just a little bit. And Travis Coyne, the rookie, making a great run here as well.
Well, we got to remember the truck that Travis Coyne is driving right there in 4th place is the championship truck from last year that Carl Rennezetter sold to him. So that truck knows its way to the podium.
Back a little bit deeper, we'll find Josh Baldwin. Oh, and speaking of Josh, man, does he go for a ride. Great reflexes by Josh. Got that thing up on the bicycle. He saves it, but also you notice that he didn't turn into it so hard that he plowed into the K-rail. So very, very good job by Josh Baldwin. And back there in the back is Rhonda Conser, the type of driver that just kind of bides her time. She lets the race come to her. There's nothing wrong with that. She's also learning here in this class. Well, Rhonda has won in Sportsman 2 and now has made the jump into Pro 2. A very, very big difference. Right now, Rhonda's learning more and more and going faster and faster each week, so these guys better look out. She's banging on the door. Carl Rennezetter with a lot of clean track ahead of him and no pressure behind him. We've already had the mandatory yellow, Ken, so right now the only thing standing between Carl and the checkered flag is a good clean run. You can see Jerry Welchel in 2nd place, but Carl's built up a lead. Now what do? Do you conserve your motor and your tires, try not to blister them, or do you run away and get as big a lead as possible? What would you do, Ken? Well, I'd let it all hang out, I suppose. I mean, there's only a couple laps left. We're definitely having the battle of the energy drinks here. The Lucas Oil sponsored machine also is a No Fear sponsored machine, and behind him, of course, a Monster sponsored machine of Jerry Welchel. But right now, it looks like it's going to be the 2005 champ who's dominating this race. Carl Rennezetter in that Nissan showing that he's got the right package, because when he finishes, he usually finishes up front. Carl Rennezetter receives the dual checkered flags, and he comes across for his 19th win in the Pro 2 division, his 37th win overall. Jerry Welchel 2nd, Todd LeDuc rounding out the podium.
Years ago, my cousins brought me to my first Crandon race, and I saw this and went, next year I'm going to do it. Everybody thought we were crazy. We went out our first year and took 2nd place. We just started racing the Crandon races. That's all we really knew about. Then I tried my luck in a rear-engine dune buggy. Yeah, that lasted 1 race. Those guys who drive those, they're special. So for 28 years, we've been doing every race, you know, that the circuit had. And we thought this is a money maker. We're going to go have fun and make money. Yeah, we proved that wrong. We're still having a lot of fun, but making money, that's not it. You do it for the love of it. Back then, we didn't have a shop. We had a welder, a grinder, and a hacksaw. So it took 2 years to build the truck that I have now outside in the shed. And first year out, it was great. We're in top 4. Next year, top 3. Next year, we won. It was a blast.
Over the past 28 years, Dan has continued to build his Flying Dutchman race team, but he started with very meager beginnings. Dan's passion for the sport hasn't wavered one bit.
It's hard to explain. It's the most exciting motorsports or sport there is, bar none. And everybody says, but what about NASCAR? And NASCAR is huge and it's great. But you know what? You ask Robbie Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, who hasn't done our racing. You put Tony in this truck, I'll tell you what, he'd rather race this than go around that track. But again, it's the money thing. They got to stay there. But where their heart is in a truck. But we're always there. We're always a threat. I mean, at any day we can win, but we're always going to do it fair.
So you'll come and die.
Ready to go. Let's take a look at our Nissan Frontier starting grid. Who sticks out to you, Ricky?
Well, the guy on the inside, Evan Evans, in that yellow truck, he's got a clean shot at the first turn.
The Forest County Potawatomi sponsored machine can be extremely fast. Of course, all hand controls. And there's a look at the second row of our Nissan Frontier starting grid. And we also have some strong trucks back there as well. All right, the yellow flag being waved, and that'll sink down. The green flag will come up. Everybody inching forward. It's showtime, baby.
Scott Taylor with, once again, a very, very good jump off the start. You can see him in the red, white, and blue truck right in the center of your screen, but it's going to be Todd LeDuc. No, Scott Taylor getting the whole shot.
looked like Todd LeDuc, or actually Steve Barlow down at the bottom, who had to check up a little bit. Jerry Welchel goes high and makes it work for him.
Jerry Welchel out there, but Carl Reynolds that are way in the back. Must have been slow on the drop.
Jerry Welchel said at the end of round number 7, he's still learning inside of that trick. Oh, and Travis Coyne gets turned around. And how about Barlow says, man, I'll just push you around. It didn't work out for him either.
Well, these guys are running into each other, banging back and forth. I've done this in stadium races. Sometimes what Barlow was trying to do was get Travis completely around so he could get going. But that's that treacherous turn 3, off camber and tight. We take another look. Barlow tries to get him spun around, but his bumper hooks. Now as he goes to back up, Travis goes to back up, Barlow goes to take off. Now they're into each other, now they're tied, and now Barlow just losing his cool on the gas. Travis doesn't know what to do. It's just a melee. Guys are swinging back and forth. It's basically a bar fight. There you have Evan Evans stuck in the back as well.
Yeah, Evan Evans was sitting there the entire time, has been blocked by these guys the entire time, and had absolutely no choice.
And the best thing that they could do, restart the race, which is what they needed to do. This is a, this is a great technical section of this track. Very, very tough racing conditions when you're trying to be precise. Sliding a truck off camber, you can't see around the next corners.
And we're risking our life doing.
Start here for round 8 in the Pro 2 division. The yellow flag comes out. Here's another look.
We take another look. Barlow comes in there, gets in the back of Coyne's, thinking, I can push him out of the way. He gets hung up on there. You see him, he goes to back up. Travis backs up. Right now, I don't know what Barlow's thinking. I'm just trying to get out of the way, but if you look behind him, Evan Evans stuck in there. A lot going on, so what do? Restart the race.
And the green flag flies one more time. You gotta love it. Multiple land rush starts, baby.
Who's got to be frustrated with this, but actually comes out on top every time is Scott Taylor. He's got that big heat under the hood from Jack Roush, puts him right up front once again.
It was an excellent start for him. Right there in second place, looks like it's going to be Todd LeDuc again, who's doing a great job in the points this year. Definitely not a fluke.
You know who definitely made out on this transition with the restart? It's Carl Reynolds. He was way in the back on the first one. Now he's right up there in 3rd place, actually 4th place.
You can see actually stacking up 2 wide in that off-camber turn number 3. Now they'll settle down into kind of a single file. Welchel back there bouncing around a little bit.
Steve Barlow, after getting hung up in that first round, actually up very, very close to the front this round.
Another look at your leaders there. The Skyjacker sponsored machine of Scott Taylor. Steve Barlow with a better effort here as well at this start.
Yesterday's winner, Carl Reynolds are coming in. Oh, and Barlow pushes him up a little bit, and Evan Evans sneaks through the inside and gets by both of those guys.
Once again, keep in mind it's extremely hot here. We're talking about 114, 15 degrees of temperature outside, and these athletes have to endure that.
Well, you have to realize right now, if you look at the track, the dust is coming up already because we had to do the restart. It takes a while to get everybody lined back up and get going, and the track has already started drying. So the dust and the heat is going to play a factor as the race rolls on.
It makes it tough to breathe, it makes it tough to see, and certainly makes it tough to get hooked up.
I love watching this guy. He loves running a soft bar. Scott Taylor, not afraid to hang it out and float that inside like a sprint car.
Once again, keep in mind, Evan Evans, a paraplegic, has no use of his legs, so everything's done via hand controls. Very talented individual.
I had a hard time with both of my hands and feet and everything, and Evan, it's remarkable. He's got a throttle like a motorcycle. He pushes on the right side for his brakes, so he does everything with his hands, and he does a great job at it.
The Monster-sponsored machine back there for Jerry Welchel making a move now. Take a look at this. Todd LeDuc and Evan Evans getting after it.
Evan Evans has had some troubles this year. He's either been up front or in the back, but right now he seems like he's got a very consistent, well-handling truck. He should be able to work his way up to that podium.
Evan Evans has always had a lot of smoke as well underneath the hood, and it's always had a ton of forward bite in that truck. So if he can get it hooked up around the turns, he's tough to beat.
You can see how the drivers are coming off sideways. You wonder, how come they're still sliding all the way down the straightaway? Well, the problem is, turn 1 is so loose that when they're sliding all the way around. Todd LeDuc showing a lot of confidence just throwing it down the hill like that. Myself, I wouldn't have that much confidence in the truck. I'd probably wait and have a little bit shorter of a rotation point.
And Todd LeDuc, an excellent competitor, coming out of mountain bikes, and Man, oh man, did Evan Evans get sideways.
Well, you're looking for traction out there, Ken. We see Carl Rennezer looking to the inside. You can't tell, but that's off camber, and that's why Evan Evans is able to use the berm and slingshot and get a run down the straightaway. In most racing, you see a guy go to the inside, complete the pass. Here in championship off-road racing, when you got a berm, it slingshots you down the next straightaway.
Carl going wide again. That one kind of hurt him as well. Back up to the front, and Scott Taylor, and here comes Todd LeDuc after Taylor.
Todd LeDuc having a very good transition through that S corner to work on this long straightaway. This is the longest straightaway in the whole track, and right now you see Scott down low, Todd up high, gets a slingshot down the next run, and almost into the back of him.
Todd LeDuc got his first win here at Chula Vista in round number 1. Everybody thought it might have been a fluke, but since then the kid has been phenomenal and has certainly proved he's got what it takes as he tries to get underneath Scott Taylor.
Scott Taylor trying to run a little bit more of a protective line, and Todd LeDuc looking for the inside and the outside. And what I think Todd is doing is finding traction in different spots. Now he's going to try to come up here, get a good slingshot on the outside. You see Taylor going to the inside, Todd using the berm, but Taylor doing a classic slide job.
Todd LeDuc, a slingshot move right there, gets a little bite off of that berm like you were talking about. And look at him run a whole different line, doing everything he can to get around.
Well, let me tell you, you better be doing something fancy, because Scott Taylor's been pushed on, bumped on, pushed around. I've done everything I could to that guy. He does not rattle.
And right now, Taylor gets a little better run. We'll find out if Todd LeDuc goes high again. He got a great bite off of turn number 1 last time out.
Now, Todd just doesn't have to worry about getting by Scott Taylor. He's got to worry about not getting passed by Evan Evans and Carl Rennezer.
Exciting stuff here, the Pro 2 division, round 8. Come on back for more action.
Your stripes, they race pretty hard against it.
Lucas Oil Products. The mandatory yellow flag waving, but man, oh man, did we have excitement before this yellow came out.
A lot of carnage in that turn 3 off camera. You can see a lot of body damage, but you know what? Don't worry about that affecting the performance of the truck. It's just fiberglass. They have to set it up that way so it gets ripped off. A lot going on. Scott Taylor comes in here, gets a little bit loose and spun around, gets hit by Evan Evans. Then all of a sudden it starts to go downhill for Scott Taylor. Gets hit again. And now as he comes back onto the track, he doesn't see what's coming in. Mike Oberg right into Mike's front wheel. And now Carl Rennezer is out in front with Todd LeDuc in second.
Carl Rennezer with a chance for back-to-back wins for the first time in the Nissan Titans career. The green flag flies, just a handful of laps left here in round number 8. They're all bunched up and it's showtime.
Scott Douglas in the red Rancho Ford running very, very strong. We haven't seen a lot of him in Pro 2. He's been very, very strong in Pro 4. And once again, turn 3, a lot of banging.
Evan Evans down underneath Scott Douglas. Those two going at it, and it looks like Douglas is going to get the worst of it right here. Todd LeDuc also part of that action.
These guys are definitely in a hurry to go somewhere. They're going side to side. They're not going. They definitely have increased their mileage on this track.
No doubt. And I'm telling you, it's not just there. They're fighting for 8th place like they're fighting for 1st. And here, it looks like Van den Heuvel and LeDuc get together.
Van den Heuvel, LeDuc, and now Scott Taylor once again in the trouble. It seems like he's been a magnet for everything. This is the Skyjacker shock of the race. We see Todd LeDuc into the back of Van den Heuvel. Van den Heuvel backing up, blocking Todd LeDuc, and then here comes Taylor, nowhere to go, right into the back of Van den Heuvel. You can see his right front wheel is locked up. He has nowhere to go. That's your Skyjacker shock of the race.
And Van den Heuvel backing up is one thing, man. He was on the gas backing up. Now it looks like Taylor has lost the right front tire.
Taylor with a lost right front tire. This is like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, man. These guys are banging into each other more than they're going forward. You know what? I'm a little bit jealous that I'm up here talking about it, and I'm not down there banging with them.
Well, while all those guys are doing that to each other, Rennezetter's been driving away from them.
Yeah, you always love it if you get a good start like Carl did. Now he just let all the carnage happen behind you. Now you just drive around and put on a show.
You know, as spotters telling him, they're beating into each other, they're crashing each other, and he's like, excellent, excellent. I'll keep going forward.
Rhonda Conitzer, we talked about her earlier. This young girl is going faster and faster each week as she gets the hang of it. As you can see, that turn is very intimidating. She's running the low line where it's a little bit softer, and now Mike Oberg coming around and getting by her.
Well, there's nothing wrong with bringing the truck home at the end of the day, and she's extremely good at that.
She's running faster and faster, learning each week. Right now, we see her looking to the inside, trying to get back by Oberg. That inside is off camber, so Oberg comes to the outside. Great slide job by Rhonda.
Mike Oberg right there. Take a look at that truck. Keep in mind, Scott Taylor pulled back onto the track right in front of him. That's why there's so much damage to that truck.
Travis Coyne in the Pro Comp Ford off to the sidelines. We saw Mike Oberg come over the jump. Looks like he's got a little bit of suspension damage, but Evan Evans has to go for a stop and go.
Stop and go for the hit in turn 3. He actually was shoved into somebody. He didn't hit him, but we'll see the tape later.
And that's one of the things that they do at championship off-road racing. They will go back and evaluate the situation. They will take a look at the videotape and make sure that somebody was not assessed a penalty that they should not have received.
Well, I'm pretty sure what they're talking about is that banging going on between him and Douglas. They were going back and forth and back and forth. And a lot of the guys were very amped up and a lot of beating and banging going on. But you know what? Someone had to take the fall.
There's the front of Mike Oberg's truck. Mike Oberg, another real strong runner, a rookie to this class coming out of the Sportsman 2 ranks, but he's very talented.
You can see as Mike goes over these jumps that the left front wheel does not drop down. That's from the contact that he had with Scott Taylor earlier in the race. Carl Rennezetter still out front and running very, very clean.
The Lucas Oil sponsored machine hanging on, looking for back-to-back wins.
This is racing. They got to let us race.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back
And I like it, reckless and crazy.
Championship Off-Road Racing.
Rough and tough off-road racer.
We're right down to the final couple of laps here in round 8 for the Pro 2 division, and Carl Rennezetter with the Lucas Oil Nissan Titan No Fear machine is dominating.
You can see how hard those tires are working. If we could slow this down, you can see when they land off of those jumps, they get pinched down lower and lower. It's very, very tough on the tires here at Chula Vista.
Rhonda Conitzer still hanging in there. Evan Evans going by her, but Rhonda Conitzer having a great run here and is in the top 5.
Now remember, Evan Evans had to do a stop and go for the contact early on. If it was indeed a foul or something, they're going to keep the penalty, but right now he's suffering it and he's trying to work his way back up to the front.
If Rhonda can hang on here, this will be her first ever career top 5 finish in the Pro 2 division. Keep in mind, she's the first female to ever win in the history of championship off-road racing.
Evan Evans looking on the inside. Oh, he goes up on the
man.
bicycle, and now Rhonda Conitzer looking on the inside.
Yeah, she might get 4th place right here.
But right now, Evan Evans running very, very strong. He's one of those guys that was all the way up to the front, got that yellow or black flag, went to the back, and now he's working his way back up again, so you better look out.
Yeah, he is on a mission, no doubt. Rhonda Conitzer, though, just staying very consistent, as she always does. Just hold on to it right there. There's nothing wrong with the top 5.
Like you said, she's the only woman to win in championship off-road racing, and now working her way up to top 5 in Pro 2, that's one great feat.
Listen to that Nissan.
The white flag is out. Carl Rennezetter out front, very clean. All he has to do now is avoid turn 3, don't flip, and I'm pretty sure he'll bring home the win.
Ron Stukenberg from Nissan standing on the side. I guarantee you, fingers crossed, leg crossed, trying to pat the sweat off of his head because it is hot out there, but he's nervous. He wants that thing to do well. They bank so much on this thing, and they put so much effort into it. Nissan behind this thing 110%.
Kevin Probst running very strong, and also Mike Oberg, like we talked about with that left front suspension. I think that helps him through that left-hand corner, but here comes Evan Evans trying to get back at Mike Oberg.
Oberg with a great run going right here, and he's certainly proven a couple of times throughout the season that he has what it takes, including the previous round, round 7, when he finished 4th, just 1 spot off the podium.
He's climbing up faster and faster each week, but Carl Rennezetter proving to Nissan that they made the right choice going with his team and him as a driver, putting that thing right up front. One more corner, and he's got another 1st place.
Menards Power underneath the hood of that one, doing a great job. The Menards people building that Nissan motor. It does have the V8 in it. Carl's coming across the stripe. He gets back-to-back wins for the Nissan for the first time in their history. Probst cross.